Some women don't express desire the way you expect. They don't play the obvious games. They hide it sometimes on purpose, sometimes without realizing. But their body still speaks. Their energy shifts. Their silence has weight. This video isn't about loud attraction. It's about the quiet kind, the kind most men miss. There are 7 subtle, powerful signals that reveal when a woman has strong inner desire, whether she shows it or not. If you've ever missed a woman's quiet desire, these 7 signs will make sure you never miss it again. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll start seeing what most men never even notice. So, let's start with the first sign, and it's one of the easiest to miss but the hardest to fake. She holds eye contact, then looks away too fast. You're walking past her. It's casual, nothing big. Maybe in the hallway, maybe at a cafe you both visit. She looks at you, and for a moment, she doesn't blink. It's not a glance, it's a look. Direct. Focused, a split second longer than normal. You feel it. But just as you notice, she turns away almost too fast. And that's when your mind starts spinning. Was that something? Did I imagine it? Why did she look away so quickly? Let me tell you something, you probably didn't imagine it. In fact, this tiny moment, that quick flash of eye contact, followed by sudden withdrawal, might be one of the most honest signals you'll ever see. Because what's happening in that second is a quiet war inside her. Part of her wants to look, to stay in the connection, to see if you feel it too. But another part, the part that's been trained to stay in control, to not be obvious, to not look too eager, pulls her back, fast. This isn't about shyness, it's about containment. It's the ego trying to suppress something the unconscious just revealed. Carl Jung would have called this a moment when the unconscious impulse breaks through, but the ego immediately reasserts itself. In simpler terms, she felt something. And the moment she realized she was showing it, she shut it down. Now, here's the tricky part. How you respond matters. Most men, when they catch that, either stare back too intensely or miss it altogether. But if you do notice it, and if you feel something shift in the air between, you don't push into it, don't challenge it, don't turn it into a moment. What you want to do is soften. Break eye contact, not out of fear, but with ease. Glance down or away like it's the most natural thing. Give it space. Because what just happened wasn't a game. It was vulnerability. And if she feels like she's being caught cornered or read too deeply, she'll close the door. Think about it like this. That glance wasn't meant to be seen, but you saw it. And your ability to treat it gently like something sacred instead of something to conquer will tell her more about you than words ever could. And timing is everything. If this kind of eye contact happens once, maybe it's just curiosity. But if it happens 2, 3 times across different moments in different spaces, when you're not supposed to be connecting, there's something there. It's not accidental. It's not casual. It's a quiet reveal, a part of her stepping forward, just for a second. And if you can hold that moment without holding her hostage to it, you'll start to see what most people miss. Because the first sign of real desire isn't loud. It's not touch. It's not words. It's that flicker in the eyes, the one she wasn't ready to give you, but did anyway. Now here's a different kind of signal, one that doesn't grab your attention right away. It's not intense, it's not flirtatious, but the longer you're around it, the more you feel like something's being carefully held back. She's composed. Always. She speaks with care. She sits just right. Her words are warm, polite, measured. And when you tease her gently, playfully, she doesn't lean in or push back. She smiles, offers a soft laugh, then gently steers the conversation somewhere else. Her posture stays perfect, hands still resting gently. No unnecessary movements. It's grace, wrapped in control. It's easy to assume she's just being nice or maybe not that interested. But what you're actually witnessing might be emotional self-discipline. Some women don't express attraction through spark, they hold it in. And the more they feel, the tighter they hold. Not because they're cold, but because they've learned that showing too much too soon can be risky. They've been judged before, misread, maybe even punished for being too open. So, now they keep things neat. Carl Jung would have called this a strong persona, a socially crafted version of the self, designed to function to be accepted to stay safe. And in her case, it's flawless. The conversation flows, but never goes deep. The laughter is polite, never messy. The reactions are controlled, never spontaneous. But here's the thing. The stronger the shell, the more pressure building underneath. Every time you joke with her, and she smiles without leaning in. Every time she redirects instead of responding emotionally, there's something flickering, not rejection, but restraint. A flicker of something real, immediately covered by habit. And here's where most people get it wrong. They either assume she's not into it and back away, or they double down trying to push through the surface. Both moves usually shut the door. What works instead is patience. Stay grounded. Let her see that you're not trying to get something out of her, that you're comfortable even when nothing's happening, that you're not threatened by stillness. Because if she feels safe enough to stay composed around you without being judged or decoded, eventually her nervous system will settle, her voice will soften, her energy will shift. And then, maybe not today, not tomorrow, but one moment when she's not thinking, she'll react without the filter. The laugh will be real. The eye contact will hold. She might interrupt you just to tell a story she never intended to share. And in that moment, you'll understand she wasn't distant. She was careful. She wasn't cold. She was watching. And now that she feels safe, the signal doesn't need to hide anymore. Let's move into something even more subtle. This one doesn't show up in her words or even in her expression. It shows up in her body, specifically in the way her body responds to yours. You're standing next to her, maybe in a casual setting. You're not facing each other, you're not in deep conversation. You lean on a table shift, your weight maybe scratch your jaw or fold your arms. A minute later, she does something nearly identical, not exact, but close. She mirrors you without even knowing it. This isn't mimicking, it's not conscious. She's not trying to flirt or copy or connect. In fact, if you asked her, she'd probably deny it. But the body often speaks before the mind catches up. What's happening here is called somatic syncing. It's a phenomenon where two people who feel safe or drawn to each other subtly fall into the same rhythm. Their posture aligns, their breathing slows together, their movements start to echo. And with a woman who's holding back emotionally, this kind of mirroring can be one of the only clues she gives you. You won't notice it in structured interactions, not in meetings or formal dinners. It shows up in the quiet moments when neither of you are performing, standing in line, walking side by side, waiting for an elevator. No one's trying to impress. That's when the body does what the words won't. So, how do you spot it? You'll notice that the space around you feels easy, even if she's not saying much. You shift your stance, then catch her doing something similar. You take a sip. She reaches for her cup a second later, not instantly, not theatrically, but in a rhythm that feels connected. The trick is not to call it out. Don't joke about it. Don't try to test it. The moment you point at it, the moment it becomes self-conscious, it vanishes. Because again, this isn't performance, it's unconscious alignment. And it only happens when she feels free to stop managing herself. And if it happens more than once, if it shows up in multiple settings with no clear reason for it, then chances are it's not coincidence, it's resonance. Think of it this way. Most desire doesn't explode, it hums quietly beneath the surface, and the body, before the ego has time to cover it, reveals that hum. Mirroring is her nervous system saying, I feel safe here, or maybe I feel pulled toward this, even if her words don't. So, what should you do? Nothing. Really? Don't lean in, don't push the rhythm. Just notice it. Stay present, grounded at ease. Let her body relax around yours without needing to define it. Because when that kind of synchronicity is left alone, it tends to deepen. It becomes a shared language neither of you has to speak. And if you let it stay unspoken, she may not even realize why she feels more at ease with you than with others. But you'll know. You didn't say the right thing. You didn't try harder. You simply knew how to feel what she wasn't ready to express. And that is more attractive than anything you could have said out loud. Some signals don't show up in words or gestures. They show up in the air between two people. And this one is all about that shift you feel. When the room goes quiet, the fourth sign, her energy shifts. When you're alone. Around others, she's easygoing, light, engaged. She talks jokes, maybe even flirts a little. Everything seems effortless. But the moment it's just the two of you, something changes. She's not colder, not rude, but the energy gets heavier, more still. The conversation slows down. There's more silence. And when you do speak, her eye contact lingers just a second longer than before. You start wondering, did I say something wrong? Did I misread things? But what you're sensing isn't discomfort, it's intensity. And most people mistake one for the other, because when the group is around, she has a role to play. She has context, distance, distraction. But when everyone else fades and it's just you, there's nowhere for her feelings to hide. That's when the filtered version of her starts to slip. Not by choice, but because her defenses aren't built for quiet. In Jungian terms, this is where the shadow starts to surface. The part of her that wants but doesn't speak. That feels but doesn't always know what to do with that feeling. And in one-on-one space where attention sharpens and noise disappears, that shadow has room to rise. It's not always comfortable for her or for you, but it's real. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel the tension. Not awkwardness tension. Like something's pressing against the edge of the conversation, trying to show up, but not ready to be named. Here's where most people make the mistake. They try to fill the space. They joke too hard, talk too much, overcompensate. But this is one of those moments where silence isn't a gap, it's a signal. Your stillness is the answer. When you stay calm, she doesn't feel exposed. She feels seen, safely. Now, pause for a second and think about this. Have you noticed her acting lighter when others are around but quieter when it's just you? Have you told yourself she was losing interest when maybe something deeper was just starting to rise? Let me ask you directly. Are you sure she doesn't like you? Or have you just never learned how to recognize a woman who's afraid of being seen? Maybe what you called cold was actually controlled. Maybe what you thought was distance was just her trying not to unravel in front of you. And maybe, if you keep waiting for her to speak first, you'll never hear what she's been silently holding back all along. So, here's what to do. Nothing flashy, no sudden moves, just match the quiet. Let the weight settle. If the moment feels dense, don't break it. Let her feel that her stillness doesn't scare you, that she can be heavy around you without being asked to lighten up. Because when a woman's energy changes like this, it's not rejection. It's the space where truth starts to gather. And if you're calm enough to stay with her in that shift, she might not say what she feels, but she'll start trusting that you can handle it. And that trust is what opens the next door, because stillness isn't emptiness. It's where truth waits to be trusted. Fifth sign, she's curious, but never asks directly. By now, you might have noticed something strange. She never really asks you personal questions, but somehow she seems to know things about you. She doesn't say much during your interactions, but later you realize she's aware of what you said to someone else, or what you posted, or what you've been up to. And when she does ask a question, it feels slightly sideways, like she's circling the thing she really wants to know without actually touching it. This is a different kind of interest. It doesn't look like the open, direct kind. It's quiet, careful, and distant enough to give her deniability if she ever needs to walk it back. But make no mistake, this is curiosity. And curiosity is rarely neutral. Sometimes when a woman feels drawn to someone, but isn't ready to face that feeling directly, it leaks out through indirect channels. She won't ask you how your weekend was, but she'll ask your friend. She won't bring up the thing you posted, but she clearly saw it. She might ask how your dog is doing, even though you never told her you had one. It doesn't always make sense, but It's rarely random. This is what projection looks like in its softer, more unconscious form. Her desire wants information, but her ego doesn't want to expose itself. So instead of stepping forward, she reaches around the edges, testing the waters, checking your presence, tracking your orbit. She's interested, but guarded. Present, but not forward. And the key here is not to confront it. Don't ask, "Did you ask about me?" Don't call her out for being indirect. That's a fast way to trigger defensiveness or make her feel watched. What you want instead is to make curiosity safe. That means giving her room to ask what she wants without pressure, without teasing, without trying to get her to confess anything. Next time you're talking and she brings up something oddly specific about your life, don't react like it's strange. Respond like it's normal. Answer the question. Let it land. And if you want to open the door a little wider, give her something just personal enough to invite her closer. Not a performance, just a thread to follow if she wants to. Because when a woman is curious about you but not ready to show it, what she's really looking for is safety. She's looking to see if she can get closer without feeling exposed. And the more effortless you make that feel, the more natural it becomes for her to stop circling and start speaking. Also, timing matters. If this kind of indirect curiosity shows up, once you might brush it off. But if it comes through multiple people or in different situations like mutual friends, casual comments, or sudden awareness of details you didn't share, then it's not just passive observation, it's intentional, whether she realizes it or not. And maybe that's the real point. She doesn't want to be obvious, but she doesn't want to be absent either. So she threads the space between. And if you know how to notice those threads and never pull too hard, you'll start to see the design behind them. And her interest might become more visible than she ever meant it to be. Some signs are loud. Others are almost invisible until you notice how sharp the silence is around them. This one lives in the body, but not in the ways people expect. Sixth sign, she avoids touch, but reacts strongly. She never touches you. Not casually, not playfully, not even when the moment would make it feel natural. No pat on the shoulder, no brush of the hand. She stays in her space, keeps her boundaries, as if touch is something she's constantly managing. And yet, every time your hands bump or your arm brushes hers even slightly, her whole system seems to pause. Just for a second. Her eyes flick away, her breath catches. It's not dramatic, but it's undeniable. And that moment, right there. That's not fear, that's impact. You see, when someone feels nothing, they don't react. There's no tension to hide, no message to manage. But when the body jumps, a little pulls in, just slightly, or freezes as if surprised, it usually means something registered more than she expected. It's not about discomfort, it's about awareness. Her body clocked something her mind wasn't prepared to name. In psychological terms, this is where physical sensitivity spikes because emotional expression is being held down. When you suppress how you feel long enough, your body often becomes the only channel left to speak through. So, a light brush of the hand, which to someone else might be nothing, lands in her system like a signal, fast, personal, unfiltered. That's why her reaction isn't flirtatious. It's precise, controlled, and fast. It says, "I felt that, and I'm not ready for you to see it." And here's the trap most people fall into. They see the flinch or the moment of pause and they think, push a little, she'll open up. But this is the worst time to escalate. Because when she feels her body exposing what she's trying to keep private, the only thing she wants more than distance is to feel safe from pursuit. So, what should you do? Nothing. Let the moment pass. Stay natural. Don't acknowledge the touch. Don't apologize. Don't turn it into something. Just go on like it didn't register. Because your job here isn't to pull her into comfort. It's to let her see that she's not being watched, judged, or tracked. And that builds trust, quietly over time. Now, if this happens once, maybe it was timing. But if every light accidental moment of contact brings the same micro-reaction, especially if it repeats across different settings, it's not random. It's emotion trying to stay invisible and the body refusing to cooperate. And sometimes, that's the clearest message of all. She may not be ready to lean in. She may not show desire the way movies tell you to expect, but her nervous system is already telling the truth. And if you're calm enough to respect it, to not chase it, and to never exploit it, she'll feel that. Not just in her head, but in her body. And slowly the flinch will soften. And when that happens, it won't be because you touched her more. It'll be because you finally gave her space where she didn't have to guard herself anymore. The final sign, her silence is charged, not empty. By this point, you probably noticed a pattern. These signs don't shout, they whisper, and the quieter they get, the more they tend to say. That brings us to one of the deepest signals her silence. Not the kind where she leaves, not the kind where she shuts down. I'm talking about when she stays with you, but says almost nothing. She's present, not distracted, not scrolling through her phone, not making an excuse to leave, just quiet. But somehow it doesn't feel empty. It feels full, like the air between you is doing more talking than either of you are. There's a specific kind of tension in that moment. Not romantic tension in the Hollywood sense, but something denser, slower. It's magnetic. And if you felt it, you know exactly what I mean. What's happening here isn't disinterest, it's emotional containment. She's feeling more than she's prepared to express, so she holds it. Not out of calculation, but out of habit protection, maybe even confusion. And instead of covering that tension with small talk, she sits with it, because part of her wants to know if you'll sit with it too. Psychologically, this is a kind of emotional density. The energy hasn't disappeared, it's just been compacted. The more it's held in, the heavier the room gets. And when she lets herself stay in that space, especially toward the end of a conversation, it means something important. She trusts that you won't rush to fill it. So here's what matters most. Don't break the silence. Don't fill it with jokes, explanations, or unnecessary words. Let it live. Let her feel that the silence doesn't need fixing. Because if she can be still with you without feeling like she has to entertain or explain, that's the beginning of emotional safety. And from there, something surprising often happens. Which brings us to the bonus sign. You won't see it often, but when it comes, it's hard to forget. She breaks, just a little. Maybe she laughs too loudly at something that wasn't that funny. Maybe she touches your arm without thinking. Maybe she looks at you longer than usual, and then just as quickly, she pulls back. The moment shuts down. She shifts in her seat, changes the subject, regains control. This is what Jung would call a leak from the shadow, something deeply felt slipping past the persona for a second. And then the persona returns, smooth, careful in control. What do you do when that happens? Nothing. Don't freeze, don't overanalyze. Let it pass like it didn't mean anything at all. Not because it didn't, but because if she sees that you didn't panic, that you didn't jump on it, she'll trust you a little more next time. Because that wasn't just a laugh. That wasn't just a glance. That was the part of her that's been holding back, finally slipping into the room and checking to see if it's safe to stay. And if you're calm, steady, and quietly present. She just might let it come back again. We've just walked through 7 subtle signs, 7 quiet moments when desire hides in plain sight. Have you ever seen one of these in a woman you know? Maybe not all 7, maybe just 1. But it lingered. You felt it. You didn't know what to call it. But now maybe it makes a little more sense. Because not all desire is loud. Some of it is careful. Some of it has been shut down too many times. And some of it is waiting. Not for the perfect man, but for the one who knows how to listen without forcing, how to stay without pushing, how to notice without demanding proof. What if she wasn't distant? What if she wasn't uninterested? What if she simply needed to know that it's safe to feel what she feels? The woman you thought was guarded might be the one who feels more than anyone else in the room. But her desire doesn't come out in declarations. It shows up in silence, in hesitation, in a moment she didn't mean to reveal. And if you were patient enough to see it, if you didn't grab at it, didn't question it, didn't call it out, that moment may have been meant just for you. So now if someone comes to mind, someone who stayed quiet but present, who looked away but never left. Don't rush to get an answer. Don't press for a signal. Just stay. Notice. Let her be whole even when she's holding back. Because sometimes the deepest kind of connection doesn't come from what's said, but from how well you read what wasn't. And maybe, just maybe, the woman who hasn't said a word has already told you everything.